Hey, 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 everyone. Welcome to the Nurse Mark and the Green Nurse podcast, where we bring you hope and inspiration for growth and healing. And we're here to change the dialogue and stigma around what it means to feel good and be high. Hence, H for hope, I for inspiration, G for growth, and H for healing. And you've heard Nurse Mark and I talk all the time about things that a lot of people don't want to talk about. However, we talk about these things because they're important subjects that need to be discussed to decrease the stigma for healing. So 2021 is the year of the nurse and midwife. And what we've been doing all year long is we've been highlighting and illuminating health professionals and cannabis nurses because we are truly in revolutionary times where we are changing how we approach and take care of patients. Now, y'all know we all don't wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to be a cannabis nurse or I'm just going to go into the industry. There's usually a compelling story or a reason that goes along with that plunge. So really, what makes someone enter into the cannabis space as a nurse? Well, I'm really, really excited to introduce our guest. Elisabeth Mack is a registered nurse with her master's in business administration. She founded Holistic Caring in 2016 as a concierge medical cannabis consultation service with clinical nurses helping educate, guide, and support patients with product choices, dosages, and timing. Holistic Caring bridges the gap between traditional and Holistic Caring bridges the gap between traditional and cannabis medicine. So her programs do bridge the gap between traditional and cannabis medicine through education, guidance, and supportive care for patients and with product choices, dosages, interactions, and timing. That is really good stuff. So Elisabeth's background includes a decade in hospitals where she specialized in psychiatry, diabetes, and multiple medical units. She spent 20 years prior to Holistic Caring in operations, service, and sales management of several health insurance carriers and believes that cannabinoid medicine offers our best chance at healing, comfort, and wholeness in a more holistic, economical, and empowering way. Elisabeth earned her master's in business administration and healthcare administration, a bachelor of science in nursing, and a bachelor of arts in psychology. She's a member of the Society of Cannabis Clinicians, the American Cannabis Nurses Association, Los Angeles Normal, and board of San Diego Women Grow. Welcome, Elisabeth. I am so happy to have you here on the platform.
Thank you, Sherri. It's just lovely to be here, and I can't wait for our conversation.
I know it's really exciting. East meets West. We don't all wake up. We generally have a story, and you have a very, very rich history in business and in nursing, which is really cool. So, how did cannabis find you? I always love to know that story. What was it? How did the plant grow into your life?
Well, it grew into my life in this version with a bicycle accident. But, from about 14 or 15, I think I remember being exposed to it in high school. And I definitely had a little one hitter, and it came in handy when things were, not always happy at home and you just want to relax and unwind. And I knew intuitively, even back then, it was healthier than having a beer with my friends. We'd rather just have a couple of puffs and disconnect from all of the chatter. But a bicycle accident 6.5 years ago reintroduced me to cannabis in a very different way. I crashed my bike and I went out on leave from Anthem Blue Cross, where I was running sales for the county of San Diego. And I needed surgery, and I had that done. And about 2 weeks after the surgery on my shoulder, I was at my chiropractor's office, and she said, well, why don't you have Denise work out your shoulder? And she was the medical massage therapist. And this woman was using CBD in the oil. And this is, January of 2015. And this CBD was whole plant Humboldt CBD and coconut oil. And I'm like, hey, what is this? It smells funny. And she said, it's cannabis. And I'm like, is this allowed? Why are you putting cannabis on me? And she said, it's going to help your inflammation, help your pain, and get you back to that pre-surgical arm faster. And I said, well, sign me up and tell me more. And that was the beginning of my journey into cannabis medicine. Because, so part two, she also gave me some CBD in capsules that were called Cannabis back then, flash-dried CBD. I started to take them, And like within a week, I didn't need all the Motrin I was taking. I didn't need the muscle relaxants. And I'm like, wow, I need to start studying this. And that was the beginning of the research.
I love it. That's what we are. We're researchers as nurses, right? That's how we figure it out. I mean, this is new, uncharted territory.
Yeah.
You know, how we're developing these programs for people, for patients, for providers.
Mm-hmm.
But here's one of the interesting things, too, that I want to bring up, because I love this. It has to do with stigma. So when that clinician put the infused coconut oil on your body, you said, whoa, is this allowed? Is this legal? Right? So how were you plagued with stigma at all at first?
Well, a little bit, and it didn't help at the time that this therapist was also a Rasta woman, right? With like dreadlocks and cannabis culture, and she was actually raised up in Humboldt. So, my venture was different. But you know what? I mean, I have a heart of love. And so I just saw her as just anybody else, and I'm like, I'm going to listen to you because. I think I just knew, my inner being knew that she was going to be a guide and getting me out of the way of thinking. I was running sales for Anthem Blue Cross for the County of San Diego, running employee benefits, right? So I was taking care of 1,000 brokers and getting people pharmaceuticals, benefits, inpatient care, outpatient care, and things that didn't work. And it wasn't working for me either. When I was in that position, I was taking a lot of pharmaceuticals. I had the Motrin. I was taking 2,000 milligrams of Motrin a day for years. This wasn't my first shoulder surgery. This was my third. And I have had, this is my Achilles heel in a way, right? But I wasn't healthy. The years and years of Motrin from the first shoulder surgery back in spring of 1994, when I got injured by a patient working psychiatry. That surgery, they put me on Vicodin, and I'm like, I can't take this. I can't work. I can't function. And they're like, well, we don't have any other options then. Just take the Motrin. So I was from 1994 all the way up until 2015. That's a lot of years of Motrin. And it had given me high blood pressure. It had given me stomach issues. It was giving me, all kinds of other things. So I was taking several different pharmaceuticals. And over time, I was able to wean myself off the medicine for blood pressure, depression, sleep, even asthma, migraines, of course, all the anti-inflammatories, the muscle relaxants. And this leads into why I do what I do, because I said, if I can heal myself, I have to tell other people. For 20 years, I've been running insurance company operations, and now I need to help steer this a different way, into a holistic way forward for patients and for professionals, because
this is extraordinary. So for our new viewers, this is huge. This is why we do this. Elisabeth was able to heal herself of shoulder pain, hypertension, migraine headaches, gastrointestinal disorders, right? Is that what you said? That's a lot of gastroesophageal reflux disease. Yeah, migraines. We just did a show today on migraines and how debilitating they are. So that's really powerful stuff. So you knew that this worked. It helped you. And probably like me, you were like, there's got to be thousands of other people out there that are trying to figure this out and how to make it work, right?
Well, more than that. You know what? Once I understood what the endocannabinoid system is, play that now into billions. There's 7 billion of us on the planet, and every single one of us has an ECS. Every single one of us can benefit from modulating and nourishing this endocannabinoid system inherent in all beings, that is giving us the feedback loops and keeping us balanced at homeostasis. And once you understand this, then you're like, I have to tell other people, because really it's a much more direct root cause solution to healthcare than just take another pill for every ill, which is what happens.
Well, I agree. So here's like one of the things that when we are educating, we say if the endocannabinoid system is the most important system in our body, so what is the most important thing that we should be doing? We should be taking care of that most important system, right? And so everything that we do or don't do in our lives affects that system. And that system is constantly changing, right? So how does the endocannabinoid system help balance the mind, body, and spirit?
Well, when you think about all of our other systems, think about the other 11 body systems, right? Our cardiovascular, The endocannabinoid system can be decreasing the inflammation, opening up vasodilation, increasing blood flow, increasing circulation, and decreasing hypertension, and relaxing those vessels, as well as hopefully trimming down the plaques in the arteries to taking down atherosclerosis instead of increasing it. So musculoskeletal, the joint inflammation, the muscle pain, the spasms, etc. The endocannabinoid system, through the regulations of tension and relaxation, and inflammation, of course, in the joints and shoulders and knees and hips, etc. Finding that sweet spot where you've got the mobility you need without the inflammation, and you've got cushioning coming back in. Bones, helping to strengthen and shore up our bones on how we're healing. And being protective on the bones, especially as people are aging. When the endocannabinoid system's becoming less nutrient rich and it's failing, we need to supplement so that we can keep our bones healthy, so that if somebody does have a fall, it doesn't mean a break. And then neurologically, think about all the kids that we know. Epidiolex is an FDA approved seizure anti-epileptic drug. It's purified CBD. What is CBD doing in the neurology to bring back balance in between GABA and glutamate, and shutting down calcium channels that are too wide open, that are causing the imbalance? The endocannabinoids are able to regulate that perfect sweet spot into the Goldilocks zone. And if they're not working, then we can supplement with the exogenous, the phytocannabinoids, to bring that balance back. Just like, if we're deficient in vitamin D, we can supplement with that. We need to teach people that sometimes we're deficient in these endocannabinoids when you have clinical issues, and you can supplement with the phytocannabinoids to bring back balance into the body. And it's almost that simple.
It is almost that simple. Exactly. The endocannabinoid system. And that's the part that I really like about the different phytocannabinoids that are in the plant. They all do something different. They act in synergy. They work on multiple systems at the same time. One of the most profound things that really clicked with me was how the endocannabinoid system is like an on-off switch, going on and off all day long, doing things all at the same time, and how the plant is so intelligent for our complex bodies. It's almost as if the plant goes where it needs to go and does what it needs to do to bring about that homeostasis and balance, all of our different systems. It's very, very intelligent.
Yeah, which is why systemic access is so important. Getting systemic access into the bloodstream, having good whole plant formulations that are going to do the job. Because, going back to the body, mind, spirit, I kind of just alluded to the physical. But when you have receptors that are being activated, whether it's in the mind, think about slowing down some of the fear and the fight or flight. Even with my shoulder pain and all of the things that are going on, when I'm emotionally too stressed, this hurts, right? When I'm able to bring down some of the monkey mind and get back to my grounded, centered self, my shoulder's not hurting so much. So it's both. And then over time, once I'm out of that fight or flight, and this is now progressing towards normal life, and I'm less high strung, then I start to open up my spirit, and my spirit is happy because I can just naturally be in more joy, as opposed to just thinking about all of my limitations and conditions of life that might not be favorable at the moment, and just think, I'm going to get through this. And it's that resourcefulness. So I'm getting out of pain. I'm stopping the incessant thinking, and I'm opening my spirit to joy and to peace and to love. And then that is body, mind, spirit right there.
Absolutely. And spirituality, we presented on this last fall for ACNA. Spirituality is the root of cannabis care, because for so many different patients, the first thing that the plant brings them is hope. That hope that things can be different. When they hear stories, you share stories, you do consultations, people will experience the plant and they'll have a shift or something different happen. And that hope brings them inspiration. And when you're inspired, you're in spirit. And when you're in spirit, you're open to receiving things that you normally wouldn't be able to receive. Hope, inspiration, and then growth. When you're in spirit and you're inspired, it triggers your ability to want to do something different, to grow and to heal. And healing isn't the absence of illness or disease, as we know. It's doing the best you can with what you have right here, right now. You know, a lot of patients will have diagnoses, such as myself, this long, a page full of diagnoses, but I'm not living in the story, right? Because I have plant phytocannabinoids and all of the different health and wellness tools that are available to support and nourish our endocannabinoid system.
Yeah.
So really, really, I love your story. So for the viewers that are watching, everyone always gets interested in how we take cannabis. People are like, how do you take it? How do you take it? How do you use it? Because it's different. You know, tons of people, we all have different endocannabinoid systems, and we're all going to medicate a little bit differently. So how do you use the plant to manage your symptoms? The different combinations of products? And then
So I'm multimodal, right? So there's not just one way. So, but there's, and every day my regime starts with, and I always like to pair my phytocannabinoids with meals, 5 minutes either before or after. Generally, as I'm preparing my breakfast, I'll do my 20 milligrams of CBD CBG tincture that I do in the morning for anti-inflammation, little energy, clarity. Later on in the day, as I have a snack, I like a pure CBDA. Again, anti-inflammatory, anti-anxiety, because by midday, I'm kind of revved up and I'm working on too many projects at once, and I need to just bring myself back to ground. And then in the evening, I'll have a 1-to-1, right? And so equal parts CBD, THC. And that is going to sort of downshift some of the pain, because, you know, I'm never going to be out of pain. This shoulder is always going to hurt. And because of the first shoulder surgery they did in 1994, they took 1 inch of my clavicle out. Well, what could go wrong? The shoulder grows back internally rotated. I've got subscap issues forever. And plus now I have 3 pinched nerves in my neck, and I don't want any further surgeries ever again. Thank you. So, you know, by the end of the day, I'm hurting. And then once I decide to really stop working for a while, I'll have a couple puffs off my vape, or if I'm with a friend, sometimes we'll puff on a pre-roll. So I definitely like inhalation, but for me, that's not necessarily to get me out of pain as much as to just really sort of disconnect and have just some wellness and relaxation, which is then when I hit the yoga mat. So then I will do my stretching, my strengthening, my yoga, my planks, some free weights, a little bit of dance and things like that I can turn on some music and talk about joy, and a little bit of disinhibition from the cannabinoids allows me to be more present and less conscious of what I'm doing, and it's just working my body, and I'm just in that sweet spot of joy. So yeah, and then at the end of the day, before I go to bed, when I brush my teeth, shirt off, I lather up, you know, my shoulders and my neck with a good topical rub every night, and that helps me to just settle down, get in bed, and have some peaceful sleep. So that's my regime.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, in your experience, because I get this question all the time, and have you found that your cannabinoid requirements sometimes change over time? You know, yes. And you may switch it up every now and then with using various different products.
I do. I switch. I try a lot of things, right? And you know, being a clinician in this, I like to study the market and to see what's out there. And so I purchase a lot of things. Sometimes people will offer me something to try it for a while. And so I like to change things up. I'm not always going to be always in the same lane. So with products, but also as far as decreasing my needs, when I was first coming off the pharmaceuticals, I was taking CBD concentrate. I was getting my Aunt Zelda's oils, where I'd get a 3-gram syringe, or Firebird touch therapy, CBD oils. Generally, just, you know, a good fully extracted cannabis oil, ethanol extracted oils, and high CBD. And I was taking a couple of 100 milligrams a day of this oil. Every single day. And that is how I began the weaning down from one after another. And over a period of about 2 to 3 years, all of those pharmaceuticals were pretty much gone. Now I still, you know, have them. And if I need a Motrin, if I need a Furanol because I'm getting a headache, or if it really gets bad, I do still have Imitrex, right? And so I'm not like a complete purist where there's no room for pharmaceuticals or conventional care. It absolutely has a place, but it's gone down to like 5%. right?
Absolutely.
And as my body has healed, then I was able to wean down. So, instead of 200 milligrams a day of CBD, it's probably closer to 60. But, and I'm using different things. However, the other thing that I always teach is holistic health, because I also completely changed my diet. From the time I left Anthem to today, it's very different. I eat a ton of vegetables. I really got away from anything processed, anything in boxes. I basically just have, if you open my fridge, it's fruits, it's vegetables, it's salmon, it's lamb burgers and lamb. I love that. But a lot of good whole, like Mediterranean food. That is my diet. I eat the Mediterranean. I don't exclude anything, thank goodness. But I've really limited the sugar, limited alcohol, which also helps taking away migraines. And really trying to control caffeine in that as well, and just having the coffee a little bit in the morning and then water, because most people aren't well hydrated. So if you focus on the fundamentals, the cannabinoids are an assist to holistic living. And that's
absolutely. Cannabinoid therapeutics is much more than just cannabis, because everything that we do or don't do in our lives affects the endocannabinoid system. Cannabis is one piece of the pie. So everything that Elisabeth talked about, diet, nutrition, exercise, mind, body, spirit, some of those integrative functional health tools that exist, aromatherapy, essential oils, breath work, meditation, all of those things, energy healing, social connections, spirituality, all of those things support and nourish the endocannabinoid system, and they pair really, really well together. Good stuff. So speaking about products, what is quality CBD and how is it evaluated?
Well, one of my dear friends and colleagues and our VP of Research and Clinical Operations, Jana Champagne, she created something called the flow criteria, which once I learned, it made absolute sense. So flow is F for flowers. So that's where the medicine is. When you think about extracting the cannabinoids, you need to get them from the trichomes, not the shake, right? And so if you're extracting from flowers, you're going to get all of the good medicines. Of course, everything needs to be lab tested so that we know the cannabinoid potencies and profiles, the terpenes, if we can get those on the lab test, free from all toxins and contaminants, etc. So, really being able to dial that in. So lab testing, organic. Things should be grown without pesticides. Things should be grown as organically and purely as possible. And then whole plant. When we look at whole plant formulations versus isolates or distillates, the whole plant is always going to be better in efficacy with the entourage effect and giving people greater benefits of healing without the isolate side effects and the dosages that are needed, or the bell-shaped curve where it works for a little while and then it fades off. Whole plant oils give us that quality formulation again and again. And that is what I call quality medicines.
Really interesting. You'll find this very interesting. So we've been doing a lot of consultations on not only kids, but other people that have been put on Marinol and Epidiolex. And they're coming to us for consultations to balance it out, because they're getting smart, they're getting savvy. People that, patients that are out there that are doing the research, and they're saying, oh my God, this is only a single isolate molecule. So they're coming to us for consultations to learn about the rest of the plant and what else that they could take to make that Marinol work better, or make that Epidiolex work better. So I find that very, very fascinating.
Well, right. And sometimes you get a client that are like, hey, tell me about CBDs, and you know that they've been trained at the gas station. And it's like, it's very different. But on the Marinol, I got a new client last week. It was a neighbor, actually, just across the canyon. 85-year-old woman, about to have 6 weeks of radiation and chemotherapy, bile duct, liver cancer. And they gave her Marinol to try and get her to eat. She's down to 100 pounds. And she's really just not interested in food. And they gave her the Marinol, and she took a few doses of it, and she said she was intoxicated, she was dysphoric, she was feeling like she was hallucinating, she wasn't able to feel like she was ever going to want to take one of these again, and it really did not give her an appetite because she felt so horrible, right? And so, I'm like, let's get you a 1-to-1 oil and we'll microdose this until you figure out, what you need. And then we're going to use it in concert with everything else, titrating that dose up to support you through those treatments that are coming. For an 85-year-old, that's going to be hard. But let's start low and slow. And sure enough, a couple of days after she got her oil and started taking it, she's like, now I'm having itching. What's going on? And I'm like, well, yeah, just upper body itching. And so, it's an interesting thing, which goes back to why you need clinicians in this. You can't just go to the dispensary and expect the bud tenders to be able to guide you through cannabinoid therapeutics, because it's like, let's back down a little bit. Let's make sure we're pairing it with food. Let's get plenty of water into you. You're itching because your liver and your kidneys are not working all that well, and it's expressing things that have been buried in your tissues, and now things are wanting it to come out. So it's a really interesting thing. But anyway, I digress.
No, but I love that, because this leads into the next thing. Tell us about the importance of the medical door in the cannabis industry. It totally leads into the next question.
Yeah.
Because this is important,
Yeah. So, about 5 years ago, I remember I started a mind map. And this all came to me. It's pretty much from God, literally, because I know that I'm supposed to be building this system. And remember, I have an MBA in healthcare administration, so I can't just see things from one level. I see things as how they're all interconnected. And so the medical door means what I'm doing with process. And all the things that entails. So all of the education, the protocols, the programs, and everything that is needed to start this industry from a medical side, to train practitioners and providers of all stripes. So all the healthcare providers that are interacting with the patients, and those guys need to understand this. So the programs go to the providers, and then products, the vetted CBD, the access to THC with delivery in statewide markets, as well as dispensary partners as able, and the fourth P is patients. So process to providers to get products to patients, all through programs. And that is my medical door. It's my 4 Ps to overcome the 4 Ds, the disconnect between the providers and the dispensaries, the distrust between the patients and this whole medical cannabis system, that they don't really trust these people that could be tatted up and it not having their best interest. The dosing, to be able to guide patients, because we know that you can drive efficacy with proper dosing that is from clinical guidance. And I forgot the fourth one. So distrust, disconnect, dosing, and disorganization. From we've got 37 medical legal states and now 19 adult use. But there's no system. There's no way to tell patients how to do this, or to invite and include providers and professionals into the system. So you have to overcome these 4 Ds with the 4 Ps, and that is the medical door. So I'm building a medical door so that and I'm in San Diego, California. So literally, you can go down the hill 10 minutes from here, and there's dispensaries one after another. They're like Apple stores. They're just a retail environment, and there's absolutely no medical door. And think about this. I've been in this 6.5 years. There used to be tinctures. There used to be topicals. There used to be patches. There used to be all of these medicinally focused products, but now they're all gone. There's wax and dabs and shatters and sauce and butter and like all of these things. And it's just become very, very difficult. So I keep imploring the dispensaries to allow me to build them a medical door. And recreation still has their door, of course. And that's 99% of their sales. But give me, that 1% so that I can take care of patients, and give me a formulary that we can work with. And I'll create the dosing guidelines off of that. So this is the medical door. And that is, Cannabis 2.0 that is coming.
I really, really like that idea. And even when it comes to recreational dispensaries, there's some recreational dispensaries here in Massachusetts that I've worked with. And basically, we will add value to what you're doing. So if you have someone that doesn't want to get their medical card for whatever reason, they're new to cannabis and they want to investigate an adult use dispensary and they're new, it makes sense to have nurses to teach people how to have whatever experience they want to have. The best experience is the safe experience, and the best experience is going to happen when you have clinicians or someone that really can educate these people that come in. What are you looking for? How do you want to live your life? What type of experience you want to have, and guide them instead of just, trying to figure it out on their own. So it's Canna Wellness. So a lot of dispensaries are embracing that. And I think it's a really good angle, is that we add credibility. It's not, recreational use is great, but just think about the whole wellness part of it and bringing in education. And you're going to teach your current customers and clients how to have a better experience, right? How to switch it up, how to utilize this plant in multiple different ways to pair with all of the different activities that they're doing. Nurses add value. And I think too, if you think about it, I know a lot of people, new cannabis consumers, they have a bad experience. They're not going to go back to that dispensary.
Yeah. And that is, our value proposition to the dispensaries when we're talking about building them a medical door. I'm like, look, there's 4 ways we can work together here. One is we're going to give you the cannabis industry professional and get all your staff trained, right? 2 is we're going to give you the RN, the real nurse line, so that you can have patients that are coming through that you don't have, and you don't have the staff, you don't have the training, you don't have the knowledge to guide patients and to talk about pharmaceuticals and keeping them safe. And then 3, access to the patient program so that the patients can go through one of our condition-specific guides, on cannabis and cancer, cannabis and Parkinson's or Alzheimer's or chronic pain, and how to wean off opiates. And then the 4th thing is the dispensary consulting, where we can take a subset of their inventory and literally build in the dosing guidelines and the titration schedules that is going to give patients a better starting point if they are doing it themselves, and customizing their website so everything is there. The milligrams per mil, the potency, the cannabinoids, the terpenes, how this is going to play in the body, what to expect, and that sort of thing. And so the other thing is, with 280E, with all of the dispensary limitations on finances and cash and how expensive it is to apply for licenses and rent and all of these things in a green zone, I know, I've been working in this for a long time. They don't necessarily have the money for the clinical staff. Even if they wanted to build a medical door, they can't do it themselves. So outsource that to us. We'll take care of all of the details, and then you can have 2 doors, and it's a win-win-win for all of us, right?
So that leads into, what is Holistic Caring Networks? There we go. The medical door in the cannabis industry leads right into the meat and potatoes. Whoops, the side. Holistic Caring.
Well, again, it goes back to, I've been in medicine 35 years. I know I look like a kid, but, I'm 55, right? And so it even goes before 20, because literally all through high school, I was a candy striper. So I've been in healthcare since I was 14 years old. So literally that's 40 years. But the thing is, going back to that system, think about, I spent my first 10 years in hospitals and the next 20 years in insurance companies. I want to build a cannabis HMO for medicinal patients, and to build this system, to have these 4 Ps: process, providers, products, patients, through programs. I know that's 5, but programs are process. Mm-hmm. So the Holistic Caring Network is putting together a pool of providers that is able to provide care, multidisciplinary care, to the patients with these programs. So what is that going to entail? We're going to have a multiple of different kinds of cross-trained nurses. We're going to have pharmacists. Already got a couple of them committed to the network. We're going to have physicians. I've got a palliative care physician, a functional medicine physician. We're adding those. Nutrition. It all goes back to the gut health. Healing the gut microbiome is going to do numbers of healing on all of these patients that are coming through. Psychology, being able to help bridge that mind-body. Getting people to understand that what I am thinking is really corresponding in my body. People are so disconnected from their mind and their selves, the capital S self, and to begin to get people to understand, that the inner working before that. So the integration of all of these people, and then where we can do physical locations, because I'm going to have clinics one day, and in these like CBD wellness clinics, think about restorative yoga. And take a couple of puffs, and now we're going to be doing some exercises to add movement back in, and getting people to have a home fitness regime using cannabinoids as facilitators to bring down the pain so that they can move again. And so it's the network is an interdisciplinary, basically HMO that eventually we're going to be able to do clinical trials with. We'll have certain brands that are going to donate, and we'll track through apps, getting efficacy that we can prove, and then go back to the insurance companies, and I'm going to get them to cover CBD as, in HRAs and HSA accounts, as well as, really doing a demonstration project with certain large employers that are going to say, let's give a CBD to these 100 employees, and then we'll see where the pharmaceuticals are today and where they are in 3-6 months. And then we can see what our cost savings are, and then look at what the reduction is in blood pressure and blood sugar and diabetic issues and metabolic syndrome and cardiovascular improvements and musculoskeletal improvements, and then disabilities. So, I have a big vision on what I want to do at the end of this. And you can see why, I said, I'm the one that's going to build the system. I'm not necessarily going to stay the clinician forever. I can't wait till I really have this actualized and all of these people are in these positions, and then we just scale it up so that we go from, a small clinic to really helping those billions on the planet.
Yes. Oh my God. That is so awesome. Really, really good. And the Green Nurses, and we're a part of it. We are a part, the Green Nurses at Holistic Caring Network. We're so, so excited to be a part of it. Honestly, East meets West. Your programs are outstanding. I've already been marketing them. If I believe in something, you all know out there, you all know me by now that, there's no faking it here, faking it till I make it. If I really like something and I feel that something can improve someone's quality of life or help another health professional, help anyone, I'm going to talk about it. So we are the Green Nurses, are part of the Holistic Caring Network. We're really, really excited. I want you to share a little bit more about what your different services are for patients and professionals. Because you've got a lot of different programs, and just to bottom line it, I put a little post up so people that are watching, you can look at the post that I put up earlier on the different programs, but I want to just get into each of them and what they really mean so people can be aware if they're.
So for the patients, we have self-paced healing journeys where they can do a program, and if we're just say cannabis and cancer, right? What is the endocannabinoid system, and starting with legalities? How can I really access this in my state? And then the basics of the ECS. But then, what is cancer? What's going on in the body? And how do we diagnose it? How do we stage it? How do we treat it? What are the shortcomings and ramifications of those treatments and the side effects? And then, how do cannabinoids fold in? How might they be able to help as anti-cancer properties on the preclinical things? And then how do we fold that into palliative symptom reduction? So pain, anxiety, sleep, appetite, nausea and vomiting, etc., in enabling them to help tolerate those other treatments. And then how do we fold it together and use things concurrently so that we maximize the benefits, minimize the harms, and give people the best way forward? So that's sort of like what we do in the patient programs. And then the professional programs, all of those go from years and years and years of research. So remember, January of 15 is when I was first introduced to cannabinoids. And literally that year, I read every book I could at the library. I went to starting conferences and meetups. I was going to every event I could. I just started to use my frequent flyer miles and start going to MJ events, MJ for MDs and United Patients Group and Women Grow several years in a row up in Denver, and then NCIA events, and you name it, CanMed, etc. So I started to really interface with all these industries, and then all of the cannabis courses out there, I took them all. So literally, like every other program out there, I took, and I have notes, and all of these years of notes of conferences. And so basically, what I did in my programs is sort of distilled the best of everything, made an outline that's talking about the history, the prohibition, how we, were lied to, and how this plant was demonized and how we lost it, and then how the resurgence in science with the Israelis brought it back, and all about the science and the endocannabinoid system and how that works. Pull that into all the endocannabinoids, the phytocannabinoids, the synthetic cannabinoids, and then the terpenes, and then going into extraction and the best ways that you can make medicines, and then the products. And then deep diving into all the products and onset and duration and all of the pharmacology, all the pharmacokinetics, all the pharmacodynamics, talking about receptor targets, talking about, how these interact in the body with all of the other pharmaceuticals and what those receptor targets are going to look at, and then take all of that knowledge now. So module 1, module 2 goes into, in my big healthcare course, module 2 goes into each of the conditions that I then have in my patient program. So how do cannabinoids work for pediatrics, geriatrics, autism, epilepsy, and then going into MS, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, going into cancer, mental health conditions, anxiety, depression, PTSD, insomnia, psychosis, bipolar, then going into chronic pain, and opiate weaning, then metabolism, cardiovascular issues, and then holistic health. Which really kind of brings it all together. And then the module 3, we're not done yet. Module 3 is all about, how does this really interface with healthcare? So patient considerations, provider considerations, different practice settings, and inpatient and hospice, and that sort of thing. And then scope and standards of practice for professionals, and then getting into the costs of care and how this is funded. And right now we know it's all just out of pocket, but what are they doing in other countries? And Canada allows HSA dollars, and Germany's starting to finance it for certain diagnostic codes, etc. So that's all in there, and then breaking down the regulation side of the business. And so I took the California Department of Public Health, our manufacturing, cultivation, and distribution, and dispensaries, as well as micro businesses, lab and testing. And so I help people understand that system, and then all of the advocacy issues and the advocacy groups, Americans for Safe Access and Normal, and how to interface with them, and then all of the resources that you would ever need in the cannabis industry. And then finally, my quick start guide on how to start a business. And to really get the nuts and bolts. Because imagine you're a nurse you're 50 years old and you want to leave the hospital after 25 years and do something different. How do you start a business? And I teach you all of that, and then also the basics of coaching and how coaching is different than patient care in the hospital, etc. It's a very different conversation. So that is basically what the big course is, and it's a lot.
Health coach licensing program, you definitely want that. And here's the reason why. If you're a clinician, a nurse, and you're interested in working with us at the Green Nurses, you're going to have to take that course because it's Green Nurse approved and it's going to be required. Really, really important. The class is outstanding. I'm losing my voice. And oh my goodness, I got like a little frog.
Take a sip of tea, and I will talk about the toolkit, because I've only described the course, the curriculum, right? So that's all just in the curriculum. But when you get done with that and you pass that final exam with an 80%, then you get your little certificate, and you get the toolkit. And what's in the toolkit? Literally everything you could possibly need to do this as your own business and to be part of the Green Nurses. The assessment forms, the short and the long form assessment. Do you have 20 minutes with this patient, or are you going to sit down for 90 minutes? And by the way, if this is a 90-minute appointment, I break down in 10-minute increments everything you should be covering within those 90 minutes. Boom, boom, boom. This is what you spend on your assessment. This is what you spend on your ECS teaching. There's the products. There's the, and then the tracking and the monitoring, and then when you're going to set follow-up calls. Right. So, and then the assessment forms, the disclosures, the liability waiver, that this is educational in nature, that this is not a patient-provider relationship because of the scheduling. And so all of that is taken care of you. And then all of the patient teaching itself. So literally everything that you have to teach the patient, I've written it all. And all you have to do is make it your own and present it. And then once you get done teaching them, now you can write them a care plan. And the care plan is basically, you just change the front section of it, add in some relative research that I always, if this is a cancer patient, put a couple of links on, Project CBD, Cannabis and Cancer. And here's something I want you to read or take to your provider. And then here's the dosing that we're going to want, not necessarily dosing, but beginning titration schedules for these products. We're going to talk about, daytime dosing, nighttime dosing, etc., and give that patient a care plan. But the rest of the care plan is all of the holistic medicine, diet, exercise, movement, spirituality, finding joy, finding connection. All of that's already built in. And so all of that's in there, as well as the tracking logs, formularies with all of the products that are in a dosing guide for California products in a dispensary, which I call my formulary, because remember, I spent a lot of time in insurance companies. And it's basically the drug list. So that gives them a working knowledge of everything, and then also a 101, so that you can then go take your laptop and present this in your community center. So that Cannabis 101, literally, it's already done for you. And then that also includes the monthly mastermind. So join us on a monthly basis, where I'm going to deep dive into conditions and clinical aspects of this, the business aspects, bring in some of the products specialists and vendors that are top line producers, and teach you from them. And all of the things, staying with Holistic Caring as we grow to build this expansive vision into reality. And then we're going to, as we market all of this together with Green Nurses, we're going to also be creating jobs and looking for ways to give nurses jobs, so that when you get done with these programs, then hopefully as we're marketing to patients, then we're going to expand the pool and then connect the dots so that every patient has a nurse.
Every patient deserves a cannabis nurse. For sure. It's so brilliant. So your program has it all. I kind of look at it, it's kind of like, would you say, it's like buying your own little franchise?
Yeah,
right.
Well, and it is. And when you say licensing, people are like, well, I have a license as a nurse. How is this different? Well, it's different because it is a franchise. So I have everything all trademarked. I have my IP trademark patent attorney. I love him very much. And so everything is protected, and we are giving people a license to take everything I've ever created and turn it into a business for you. And that is the license. So there's initial fee, and then it's an annual renewal that you pay to stay part of the network. But that's continuing to give you updates to the courses, updates to the programs, updates to the care plans, and to everything else that we create, the masterminds, and then marketing you so that we can help you build clients and build up your business as well. So it is a franchise. Licensing is franchising, except the average franchise is $100,000. This is, $1,000, and you're out the door and ready to go.
It's going to pay for itself. So you think about that. It's going to pay for itself. It's a little bit of an investment, but the couple of things that it does do is it gives you the opportunity to create your own business, number one, and number two, to also work with other companies. You know what I mean? So like us being able to do consultations, you have the credentials, you are been trained, you're a trusted program. It's Green Nurse approved. You take these classes, these programs, you get a certificate from Holistic Caring, you become a Green Nurse. So you have that capability of actually branding not only Holistic Caring, but also as a Green Nurse. So
I was going to say, so with the license, you get to call yourself a Holistic Caring Cannabis Health Coach. And so that beautiful little logo that I had a great graphic designer help create, you get to have that on your business card, and the Green Nurse will put them all together. And so you come from quality. You're not just, somebody handing out your own shingle. This is a quality organization. And I've always been somebody that believes in over-serving people. So obviously with everything I put in this, it is an incredible value.
Yeah. Oh my God. So excited to be promoting it. And we're so excited to be on your community. So there's another link that's linked in there about the community that anyone can join. So it's the Holistic Caring community. The Green Nurses are there. You go, it's almost like a social media page. So, literally I've gotten so many things taken down over the past week. Literally today I've been blocked for 24 hours for sharing a 50% CBD sale that Nurse Mark is doing. Seriously. So, it just made me realize that, you know what? We are providing so much time, effort, kindness, caring, compassion. We want to educate. We don't want this to go away. So what a better place? Take it off of Facebook. This is a private community. It's private. You have to apply to get in. You request a link to get in. You answer a few questions. Tasha, who's in charge of it, will review. Then she'll approve you. You'll get an email, and you can accept into the community, and you can create a profile, your page, introduce yourself. And then you have access to these different groups, these different communities. All of our podcasts are on there. All of Elisabeth's webinars are on there, and all of the different programs that are available are in there as well. plus it's fun, so there's a lot of different, and it's all like-minded people that are coming together for the right reasons to elevate the plant, help people, and heal the planet. Seriously, plant, people, planet. And so that's what's so exciting about this. This community is really, really, lit my fire for sure. And the more I have it open all the time, the more I get involved and get engaged, and it's helping to create new content. So a lot of Elisabeth's work, I'm going to be giving hugs and nugs from her different programs in the different shows that we do. So you all know that we do Monday through Friday, the Daily Dose with Nurse Mark, and we covered various different things. So we're going to give you little hugs and nugs from her programs. But honestly, this is I'm blown away. I wish I had your program. I wish your program was available when
you started.
It took me 2 years. And I'm not going to lie. I am a smart nurse. I had to take my profile off of LinkedIn. I'm published. I've done 2 research studies. I was a lead research nurse. I've worked in all the big major teaching hospitals, geriatrics to pediatrics, hospice nurse, critical care, all of these. And I couldn't figure out how to make cannabis work for me right away. I had to become that researcher. And literally, because of that first experience of me inhaling, and this is the interesting thing, if it wasn't for inhalation, I don't know if I would have been up for it so much, because the inhalation made everything go away right away. But I needed to figure out how to make it work for me. And it did. It was a journey of studying and learning and experimenting and doing the research and connecting with people and connecting with caregivers and connecting with extractors and science and everything. And so it took a long time. And so I'm so glad that first time that I inhaled as a medicine, that I had that I had an effect immediately. And I knew that this worked, but I needed to figure out how to make it work for me. And so I want to tell you people out there, if you haven't figured it out yet and you're still trying to figure it out and you're having a hard time, you need to check out these programs. They're completely 100% cost effective. It's going to save you time. It's going to save you money. And then on the other end, you have nurses. We're here to guide and support you and to answer all of your questions. So I think this is going to help a lot of people get the results that they're looking for quicker. It's not about, okay, Google, tell me about cannabis. It's really about digging into the work that you've done, the time that you've put in. Oh my God. My Google box is answering. I just said, okay, Google, and it answered. My phone was just talking to me. It started telling me about cannabis.
Wow. Well, there's a couple of things to unpack there. And I love that you sharing about the experimentation, because there's still going to be trial and error. And that's not a bad thing. But what we do for the patients is give them a shorter runway, right? And less of any kind of adverse events or jarring kinds of incidents where they take too much and they're like, I'm never trying that again. Or the other side where I took CBD and it didn't do anything for me. But no, it's like we can sculpt this so that we make sure that we're addressing your symptomatology with the proper cannabinoids, with the proper route, the proper timing. Just think about the 5 rights, with nursing. We teach patients how to do that with medicinal cannabis. And on the professional side, what I've created is really kind of the Cliff Notes version of everything, so that as you're going through the program, you've got the slides and you've got my narrative that I've written, and then you've got a couple of links to click on, so that all of the research is right there, so that you can go to PubMed and Science Direct and all of the other things, in addition to Project CBD and some of my other favorite sources, and where we're expanding your knowledge like that, versus me sitting down and taking 5 years to build all of this. It's all ready for you, and it's like all you got to do is just knock on the door and come in.
Knock on the door and come in. And the other thing that I really love about all of your programs, Elisabeth, is they all come with CEUs, continuing education unit credits.
Yeah. And that's really important, because, nurses always want CE. The CE is right now only for nurses, but stay tuned. Things are going to be broadening going forward, not just in this country either. So a hint of things to come. But you know what? I became a provider for the Board of Registered Nursing, so I could give CE. So there's 12 hours for the big course, the healthcare professional course, 8 hours for the cannabis industry professional if a nurse wants to just do that one. And then all of the patient self-guided healing programs also have 2 hours of CE for nurses, because those are all written where the research for that condition is all there, the product dosing, the protocols, all of that is in there. So that you could, if you work with Alzheimer's patients or Parkinson's or MS or autism or epilepsy or, any of the mental health specialists, that's all you have to do. And, that is a great starting point, right? Great. Just wet your feet with something and get started and start helping patients. It's like every morning I start my first 30 minutes of every day in prayer. After I get done praying for the day, then I go through a certain litany of things, praying for all my patients and all my nurses and, and staff and all the staff that are coming. And I ask God to fill us with passion, power, and purpose to be able to do this. And so it's my life work.
Mine too. Passion, power, and purpose. That is so, I love all the, you're just like me, right? It's like all the hope, inspiration, growth, healing, feel, deal, heal, share, see, soar, positively processing. This is just great. This is really, really good stuff. And so, Elisabeth, what do you think nurses bring to the table when it comes to this? This is like probably one of my final questions. What do you think that they bring to the table when it comes to cannabinoid therapeutics?
Compassion. Compassion first. Nurses want to help people. We are, for the most part, bleeding hearts. It's like people. I knew I wanted to be a candy striper because I just always wanted to help people. And of course, my mother back in 1980, you could only be a nurse or a teacher, right? So just old school stuff. But nurses have that depth of caring. But they also are smart, right? And so studying the science, studying medicine, and then giving them the natural educator position that they have. Like patient teaching 101, we've been taught how to do that. So we're educators, we're compassionate, caring people, and we're smart in science and medical disciplines in all kinds of different specialties. So nurses are absolutely meant to do this. And some of us are good at business. Not everybody studies it to the degree I do. But between educating, business, science, and compassion, there's nobody better to take this medical door forward than nurses.
Absolutely. And I want to make one other thing that we bring to the table as nurses is we're problem solvers. Look at this. You have created a program that is solving problems. Seriously. And people need to take a peek at this. And you're going to hear a lot more from me about Holistic Caring Network. Y'all.
Well, the problem solving, it's like, what are you here for? Right. And that is one of the questions I ask patients. What are you looking forward to? What are you here for? What can we help you do differently? But I have 2 rules. One is always do the right thing. And the second one is to leave the world a better place than I found it, and basically to make an impact. And that is all about solving problems. So you're right. Problem solvers. I need to add that to the nursing list.
Yeah, it's a P. It's a P word. Oh, Elisabeth, it has been so great. So for all of the viewers that are out there, what would happen if Facebook went away or Facebook shut me down or, Instagram or all those other places, right? We want to continue bringing you information, education. Knowledge is power. The future of healthcare is patient empowerment, and we are dedicated to bringing you information. We are dedicated to relieving suffering and improving quality of life, and we don't want you to miss any opportunity to learn how to live your best life. So join us at Holistic Network Community. All kinds of cannabis nurses are coming on board, all kinds of clinicians, just like Elisabeth said, and we're here for you. We're truly here for you, and we want you all to have the best life ever. And, and it can be done taking care of the endocannabinoid system. There are so many patients where this plant has brought so much change for the better, has improved quality of life, including my own, and so this is why I'm so passionate about this. I never in a million years thought I'd be sitting here. Back in 2012, I was sick, suffering, and dying, literally dying. And never in a million years would I ever think that I would have another opportunity to be a nurse. And so that's why I'm so passionate about this. Cannabis nursing is literally has changed my life, being a cannabis patient, overcoming chronic illness, and helping other people to live their best lives. And so seriously, everyone, if you're out there, you're watching, please check out Holistic Caring Community. The Green Nurses are going to have a huge presence in there, and we are grateful. So Elisabeth, thank you so much for being on the show. Elisabeth's going to be a regular. So she's going to come on. Nurse Mark is going to come on with Elisabeth at the end of July. So make sure you stay tuned. I'm sure we're going to have some more updates and some more news and some more as to how we're expanding. We're going global.
Yeah, and I would also like you to maybe invite Tasha to come in and to do a segment as well. So not only am I the clinician, but she's the educator. I found somebody with a master's in education, with over a decade in classroom experience to help me. In the middle of COVID, I had just put my licensing package together. Thought I was going to do everything live in different cities, and COVID changed it. And I found Tasha. And I said, I got to put everything online. Can you help me build online courses? And Tasha has been absolutely instrumental and just a crown jewel that complements everything that I've ever been. So I couldn't do it without.
I am going to put her on the podcast list because she's a teacher. She's a school teacher. And her story of what led her into the cannabis space is really good too. So thank you for that inspiration. And she's part of the community and she's wonderful.
She runs it. Yeah.
Does run it.
Yeah. So, but thank you for the invitation. I will come back anytime. I look forward to breaking down some clinical issues as well. So, let's just continue in growth together.
We're growing in health, holistic caring community, and the Green Nurses.
Yeah.
Remember, everyone, it's about living your best life, helping others do the same, and decreasing stigma around what it means to feel good. All deserve to feel good. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Keep smiling.